We have one person actually. I know. Hopefully they come follow us back.
Okay.
All right. Trying to keep her back. Okay, great.
Okay. I keep looking at the wrong thing again. All right. Hey guys, it's Michelle
And Lindsay
with ADHD How To and
WTF.
So we're back, part 2. We're trying to keep these in 30-minute chunks, so that it's easier to process and upload through YouTube.
Many reasons.
Yes, many reasons.
Yes.
So if you are just joining us, we are.
Here, go that way, Fifi.
We This is part 2. We're talking about RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria. That is Jet.
I'm sorry about that.
That is okay. It's okay. Like we said, this is real life. We go in my classroom. We bring our kids. Hey, baby love. He's adorable. So, yeah, it's part 2. We're talking about RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria. If you are joining us for the first time, just real quick recap. RSD. It is an intense emotional response to even perceived criticism or rejection, and it is caused by a combination of neurochemical imbalances, specifically with your dopamine, your norepinephrine, your structural brain differences, your prefrontal cortex, and your amygdala, connectivity, impaired emotional regulation, and learned emotional responses from past experiences.
For neurodivergent people, it is a lot.
Yes.
A lot more negative experiences growing up.
A lot.
Proven.
So, we both said, like, before she, so we always try to select a topic. Before she selected RSD on Tuesday, I had already had, like, something came up in class, and so I was thinking, oh, we definitely need to talk about this because I had to do a whole lesson on it. So, I'll just jump right into it. So, RSD, yes, especially in children, if you have kids, especially, well, girls and boys, but with girls, it will present this way a lot of times. If you have a daughter that is constantly convinced that they have no friends, that they're being bullied, they're being left out, that nobody likes them, just everything is there. I don't mean this in a negative way, but like if they're always the victim, not fake victim, it is a perceived thing to them because of rejection, then most likely they are neurodivergent. Most likely they have ADHD. And
so how do you find that out?
If they have ADHD?
No, not that. Maybe not that part. I mean, yeah, maybe so. But if because what you were just saying about if they come and they tell you that, how are you discerning that you're like, oh, this is what this is, or they really are?
Oh, whether or not it's a real or perceived thing?
Yes.
Okay, so
what kind of questions are you asking?
Well, you gotta lay out the facts. So first, let them express whatever it is to you, because it is their reality. What they are feeling is their reality. So as soon as they start talking, don't go, no, that didn't happen. No. Right. Let them get it out. Once they are done, it's all about facts. So I'm just going to tell you like how I would do it with Avery. Perfect. Avery would be convinced that nobody liked her in class, that they were leaving her out, that they didn't want to be friends with her. And so one perfect example, she was, my classroom is really big where my desk is. And during lunch, the kids will be playing. So there's like some girls over here, they're playing a game. Avery is sitting off to the side. She's crying. I'm like, what's going on? I'm watching this whole interaction take place. And she's like, they don't like me. I'm left out. I don't have any friends, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, okay. And I said, she knows what RSD is. So I'll have to stop and I'll go, baby, this is your brain tricking you. This is your ADHD tricking you, because I'm watching this. I know what you are feeling and what you are thinking has happened, but these are the actual facts.
Right.
Did you go over there and ask them if you could play? No. Did they tell you, get away from us, you can't play? No. Right. Did you go over there and ask, and then they were like, get away from us, you can never be involved? None of that happened.
Right.
So I'm like, go over, ask if you can play.
That's right.
And see what happens. She go over there. Obviously, they're like, absolutely. Boom. It's fixed. It's fine.
All is right in the world, right?
Yep. But before that, to her in that moment, because it is hard with RSD for people to understand that the world is not going to cater to them in the sense like reading their mind and know, hey, this person is extra sensitive. I need to know ahead of time that if I'm doing something in their presence, I need to be I need to initiate the invitation. I need to be the one to extend the invitation. I need to be the one to
to reach out first.
Yeah, to comfort them, to make sure that they're constantly reassured. That's not how the world works. Mm-hmm. So you can't expect that. But the person with RSD, that is what they need. And so it's almost, that is just what is expected without them. That's what they want without them having to verbalize it. And they think that like everybody should basically be a mind reader.
Right. But obviously we know that can't happen. And then once, like teaching my daughter, I was like, hey, because Avery would be worried that, that they weren't close or, oh, she didn't like me, or, small things like that. Well, I say small, but they're not small. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Anyway, but what it was is I was like, hey, okay, so I had to have her break it down, and then I was like, well, you know what? At this time, that's what she needs. I said, is it okay for you? I was like, if you don't want to answer, you don't need to answer. You can just say, hey, do you need a hug? I was like, change the thing. You still can be there for they're your friend.
Because Avery would need the reassurance, so Avery would ask her, who's your best friend?
Okay, right, yeah.
Which was a very baiting question.
Yeah, that's why you're like,
Avery, though, unlike like an anxious girlfriend or wife or whatever, is not maliciously thinking that. She is just knowing, okay, I'm feeling some kind of way inside and I need to be reassured right now. And she knows how she would respond if someone said it, if someone asked her. And so she is needing that reassurance from the other person. So she would ask Lillian, is somebody crying?
I think so.
Okay. So she would ask Lillian, she'd be like, who's your best friend? Waiting for Lillian to go, oh, well, it's you. And then she would get so hurt and so upset when Lillian, who is, Avery is the impulsive, inattentive, the impulsive, hyperactive type of ADHD. And Lillian is the inattentive type, and also autistic, but Avery is autistic too. And so Lillian is very literal. And so Lillian would say, I don't know. Or Avery would say, am I your best friend? And Lillian would say, well, no, not because she doesn't love Avery and not because she's not friends with Avery, but because Lillian, in her very literal autistic brain, is thinking, and she even said this, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends that I love. I don't have them categorized. So no, you're not my best friend because I don't consider anyone to be the best. Well, Avery, the RSD, she took that as, you hate me, you don't want to be my friend. She's crying, just crushed. So Lindsay tried to go and talk to Lillian about it, to explain how it hurt Avery's feelings. Lillian just completely blew her mind. She could not comprehend how Avery jumped to that conclusion from her just saying, no, you're not my best friend. But it's all about RSD. And the only way to get Avery over that was we had to, just like I said with her saying that she was being left out and the girls didn't want to be her friend, we had to literally break it down and explain to her how Lillian's brain worked and why Lillian responded that way. And then all was right with the world. And so Avery, we have switched her medication. Her moods are under control better than they ever have been. And so it's kind of ironic because the tables have now flipped, where Avery is in a position where she was being accused of being a bully and excluding a little girl, and it couldn't be further from the truth. But I explained to Avery, I'm like, look, she's in the same exact position that you were in. She feels the same thing that you were feeling, and she feels it just as deeply as you were feeling. And so what was happening, this one precious, sweet little girl that's in my class, Avery absolutely adores her, but the little girl has really bad RSD. She would feel like if she wanted to play with Avery, she wanted it to be one-on-one, no one else. And so Avery would invite her to play during lunch, but if there was anybody else involved, the little girl would decline because she only wanted to if it was one-on-one. Even though she is the one declining, because Avery refused to do it one-on-one, she then took that as rejection.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If as soon as she came in the mornings, if Avery is in the middle of something, if Avery's got squirrel brain, if she didn't immediately acknowledge the little girl, there's never ever been an intentional ignore, I'm not going to pay attention.
Right.
But if Avery is in the middle of something else, she's not going to think to stop.
Hyper focused on something.
Yeah, she's not going to think to stop and go, oh my gosh, huge, exuberant welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And not because, like I said, she's doesn't feel happy to see that friend. It's just she's in the middle of something.
Right.
This little girl, and none of this is negative, because when it feels real, it's real.
It is real, definitely.
And it's a terrible, horrible feeling. But the mom did not know that that's what was taking place. All she knew was that her little girl was saying she was being left out, was saying that she was being bullied. I don't know where the bullying part came from, but that, Avery wasn't her friend, and it could not be further from the truth. So even in their chats, Avery, she had been telling me for a while how when she would text this little girl, no matter how many times she said, I love you, you're my best friend. Because I think I already said this, how I told Avery she needs extra love, she needs extra support.
Attention.
Extra attention. Mm-hmm. Avery's like, I don't know what to do because I'm giving that to her, but she's still, no matter what I do, like I said, I sent these screenshots to the mom. And so no matter what Avery would do, like I said, I saw the chat, like, hey, bestie, hey, I love you, hey, I miss you. And then the little girl would respond like, no, you don't really. Or, she would tell Avery, don't call me, and then send a picture of herself crying. But none of this, I don't say any of this negative about the little girl, because she is feeling these intense feelings that are real to her. And so I was able to explain that to the mom, who was also neurodivergent, and so it was all cleared up. But it was like a really big deal, so much so that the mom was going to pull the kids from the school. And so I was glad that I was able to say, no, look, like, here's the reality. It's just major RSD going on right now. And yeah, so that's one example with a girl. But then I've got like an example with a boy. I think I told you with little boy, I'm not gonna say his last name. This little boy, Will, sweetest child on the planet, apologizes like you would think that he is sorry that he exists. Always apologizes. And there's not a sweeter, more well-behaved, more respectful child on God's earth, though. He has a hard time expressing his feelings, but like, I can read a mood. I can read, especially these kids. I learned these kids like the back of my hand, but I can already do that anyway. And so these kids, their mannerisms, a shift in their eyes, I can read them so well. And a lot of times, not only can I like read their moods, I can sense why they're feeling it. And so like we were
like
watching,
an emotional barometer.
It is like an emotional barometer, but also like not just sensing that something is off. Like, I can only do it with certain people, but like this little boy Will, I can. It's not just that, but it's like I somehow, like, I feel it in me, and so I will. So here's the example. So okay, Will, whenever, I don't use a TV. I use a projector in my classroom. It's huge. It's just like being at the movies. And if we're watching a lesson or something, there's a ton of pillows and blankets. The kids will lay their pillows out on the floor so they can watch it. Everybody had lined up. Will, I knew, wanted to lay by this little boy, Isaac, because they're buddies. the way that everybody had laid, there was very little space left. And so Will and Isaac weren't going to be able, they weren't going to be able to fit.
This is your episode.
Oh, it's not my episode. They weren't going to be able to fit side by side. And so as soon as Will, like, I saw his face shift, I like looked, I was like, I instantly knew what it was. And so I'm like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he's like, yes, ma'am. Yes. So I have the classroom actually where we do this, our podcast. It's been for 5 years now. It's basically like my counseling room. So whenever I pull the kids aside so I can talk to them, I never want to embarrass them. So I'm always like, hey, I got to ask you about something. You're not in trouble. It doesn't have anything to do with school. It's about your birthday or about whatever. So that when they get pulled aside, they're, you know, they're not self-conscious. And so we came in here and I told him, I said, look, I'm not going to tell you how you feel. I'm not going to tell you how you feel. I'm going to tell you how I think I would feel if I was in your shoes. And you tell me if I'm right or not. And even though before I even said it, I knew that I was right because I could just feel it. And so I told him, I said, if I were in your shoes, I would be upset because the people, the way they were all laying, there wasn't going to be enough room for me to lay next to my friend. But I don't want to say anything and I don't want to ask them to move down because I feel like that would be bothering them. I don't want to ask you, the teacher, to ask them to move down because I feel like that would be selfish of me. And so instead, I was just going to sit at my desk. Like, does this sound right? And he's like, tears running down his face. He's like, yes, ma'am. I said, that's what I thought, baby. So went in there. Like, he didn't even have to say a word. I knew. I said, I don't know how I know it. I felt it. I knew what was wrong with him and was able to articulate it to him. So we went in there. I made everybody move down. I made sure they got their little pillows. They got everything side by side. So, and then everything was fine. But it's that rejection sensitive dysphoria, meaning he was already set up where he expected to be disappointed, where he expected to already have to expect to receive less. He already, like, I talked about this with Josh a lot. Josh is like, he's like, I am always worried about other people's feelings. I am always wanting to make sure everybody's okay. I said, but yet the thought of self-care makes you feel like the most selfish soul in the world, doesn't it? And he's like, oh, absolutely. Is that somebody could walk up and punch you in the face and you'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, my face was in the way of your fist. And you'd, but if somebody else did it to someone that you loved, you'd throttle them. And he's like, yeah, but that's why he hates birthdays and Christmas. He hates getting gifts. He's like, there's just too much disappointment. There's too much pressure. It's the RSD because he's so used to being disappointed, which is
how it happens.
That cycle. But the constant apologizing, and like the little boy Will, there was that where he like held in his feeling because he didn't want to be a burden by asking anyone to move down, for asking for what he wanted. But another example is when he does his work. He is one of the slower ones when it comes to math. That does not matter. I tell all the kids in class, one thing, they're not allowed to, when they finish a worksheet, they're not allowed to say, that was so easy. Because what's easy for one person might not be for another. And the last thing you want to hear yelled out while you're struggling is someone else go, this is so easy.
Yeah, that's the worst.
No. When they forget and they'll say it, I'm like, look, what's easy for you is not easy for them. Like, if I was in 4th grade, I would be the last one done with this worksheet. I always make sure to say, when I was in school, I was the last one. Mine was the messiest. Mine was the, because I want to make sure that, here I am, the teacher,
right,
saying, look, I wasn't very good. It's just you got to keep at it. But so that's something that he really struggles with. And so this is where RSD affects their their self-esteem, their sense of self-worth, causes a lot of anxiety.
Go back out.
So and this also goes back to how RSD will then produce cortisol because it is triggering your fight or flight.
Right.
And so I can't remember if we talked about this or not already on another episode, but what I've had to do with him, and I actually made up this trick. I'm sure that it's somewhere, but this is a thing I made up where, so he, sometimes instead of giving them a worksheet, I have a dry erase board, and I'll have the kids come up and I'll put a problem on the dry erase board and they'll answer it. It was something I knew he knew, but when it came time to do it, he stressed out, and so he wasn't able to process it. Like I said,
and that happened so quick. Yeah, that was like story of my journey of my life doing math at school. I was too stressed about it. It was just.
And it was something that I knew he knew. It was like 22 times 2. So, the cross multiplication, whatever, the 2 times 2, I knew he knew how to do it. But because his body went into fight or flight and his body started producing too much cortisol, I knew that's why he wasn't able to think. And his hands, his hands were clenched up. And so I was like, okay, look, I said, stop, put the dry erase marker down. I took both of his hands, I put them in mine, and I made him unclench them. And so I sat here like this, and I made him hold my hands until I felt his hands relax. And then I said, look, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to turn around, and I want you to think about what you did on your last birthday. And the redirect. So I said, I want you to tell me, what did you do on your last birthday? So he starts telling me. I'm like, what'd you get? I'm like, what's your favorite video game? He starts telling me about his favorite video game. So I did this for like 2 or 3 minutes. I just had him think of things that I knew were going to give him dopamine. Then I told him, I was like, okay, open your eyes, turn back around. Because now I know that I had given him time to produce enough dopamine to bring down that cortisol level. When your cortisol level is low and your dopamine and your norepinephrine are high, that is when you're able to focus and you're able to lock in. So I said, all right, now let's come back to this baby. Boom. Got it done instantly. But it all started with RSD because he was already assuming he was going to get it wrong. He was going to be slow.
Right.
And so it is this cycle of trying to break that pattern of thinking, of automatically assuming that the worst is going to happen, that you're going to be disappointed, and then learning the redirect. But in order to do all that, which is why it's so important for parents to educate themselves on the different aspects. Like if you have a neurodivergent child, because you really have to retrain their brain.
Yes.
And you have to walk through this.
Like constantly.
Yes, you have to walk through this process with them. They cannot, kids and adults both, you cannot retrain your brain. You cannot rewire your nervous system on your own. You have to have somebody in your life that knows what they're doing.
Right. But also, they got to be supportive. They got to help you.
Exactly. That cares enough to put in the time on it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do with these kids. I'm like, I don't care if it takes us a year to learn our multiplication facts. If I can teach you multiplication, that's 20% of my goal. 80% of it is to instill confidence in you, instill in you the safety and security of knowing that you've got somebody stable in your life that is always going to be in your corner. They are not allowed to say anything negative about themselves. There's only 2 things that they know that would get them kicked out of school. If they lie, or I wouldn't really kick them out for this, but they think I would, if they talk bad about themselves. I'm like, that's how serious I want them to take it.
Yeah.
And so it's, and like I said, parents, it's so important to learn and to model and to do these things. It is. It's very hard, but you really do. And I'm doing this with Avery, and it's been a hard year with Avery. And so walking through this with her, though, it's helped me because we're learning together. And
Yes, because now you're a team and you're both working at it. And if she sees you doing something, she's going to call it out. She's also does that for her friends too. Same thing, right? Which
She
is
will,
still good too. And
sometimes just as an exercise, what I'll do is I will fake like I'm insecure about something. And so like I'll draw a picture and I'll go, this is ugly, because you know somebody knows something when they can teach it or they can model it back to you. So I'll draw a picture and I'll be like, this is ugly. And she'll be like, no, mommy, that is beautiful. You tried your very best. No, this is great. And she will repeat back to me all of the things that I've always taught her, that I've always said to her. And so that's how I know, all right, it has sank in. But the only way that this is going to be instilled in your kids is if you do it constantly. And it really does. You have to, which already as a parent, you have made the commitment, but you have to make the commitment. Like, look, I'm going to put on the time. I'm not going to give up on this person. I'm going to walk with them and show them. Like, I have friends that I do this with, and like, I'm going to, hell or high water, retrain your brain, like rewire it to show that good things can happen, that people won't leave you, that like I'm having to do this with my little brother. Just all of it. And so I see my brother like mushy, good, and it took him a long time. My brother lives in Austin. It took him a long time, but now he will tell me, because he doesn't have any friends, he lives on his own. He'll tell me like, look, you're the only person that we keep my phone going while we're recording, and I have a spam call. Or it's probably Wellstar going, where's my money? Like, we didn't receive your last payment. Like, actually you did. You just didn't realize it was the last one.
That's funny though. I got a text earlier. It was from Wellstar taking money out. There you go. Sorry.
Wellstar can suck my balls, man. There's somebody from Wellstar. It's like, you got the money for a Red Bull, ho? Anyway, it's no, it's what my brother told me. He's like, you're the only one that I ever hear this from. Aww. And he would tell me, he's like, it means a lot. And so anyway,
it does mean a lot. That's right.
Yeah,
it really does. Yep. Especially change that inner monologue to something positive. Yeah, so that basically you did this whole thing by yourself.
No, oh my gosh, no.
I'm like, I can't believe how much my kids needed stuff. They were like, oh, anyway.
I'm looking up to the wrong place the whole time.
That's okay, because now it's a funny picture. But
oh yeah, my phone is recording the back of the camera. It doesn't even matter. I haven't looked at the right camera the entire time. So what do you have to add?
I remember having, at least in my life, having to being rejected so many times. I remember having to just take a leap anyway. And it was just something like that. I was like, you know what? I think this is still a good thing. I'm going to go for it. And it turned out it was, but I remember feeling that fear where I couldn't receive compliments at all. None whatsoever. They just bounced off me like,
oh yeah. Well, you still can't receive a compliment. You will fake it. But yeah, I mean, you have to still, I had to learn to, with Josh, I told him, I said, he cannot take a compliment. There's a meme that said this, and he's like, I've never related to something more in my life. Trying to accept a compliment is like being a vending machine trying to accept a wrinkly dollar bill.
Oh man.
But
well, now it's different where it's either my brain is thinking about something else, and then it's like, oh, I have to stop to take the compliment, and sometimes I just can't stop. Is another thing, but that's okay. No, I think you probably covered a lot of RSD, and especially in the kids. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, every day it is a battle to help them with their inner monologue, and how many times the boys bump each other, even by accident, and how serious they both take it. And then they both feed their negative little minds, and I'm like, how? And it's a constant battle. I know he didn't do that on purpose. But then because he did it, you did it. And then it's like, but I know you didn't do that, because then they're like, and they are very upset. And every day. It is a constant. How am I going to help them get through this? Good. Yeah. That's my guess.
Do you have a WTF? Or do you have a win?
I think my mom earned the win.
Okay, well, let's say your mom's win.
I had to. We're going to go out of town very soon. We had a rabbit that was sick downstairs. The rabbit unfortunately passed away. However, part of the being, I was like, I got to bury the rabbit, right? More crying. Gonna have to get them in bed.
Oh,
hey,
baby,
come here,
love.
Come here. Sit with me.
Love.
Oh no.
Oh, Jet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I will help you, and well, I love you. Like my words are. Okay, so the rabbit. So we had to bury the rabbit. My brain was like, okay, just dig the hole, keep going. And then my mom was like, hey, you need all the kids. Let's have a thing. I go, what? And it just sort of flew over my head because I was trying to get so much stuff done.
A little redirect.
And so all the kids were there, and they all were upset. They all got through it, and I was just rushing to get so much stuff done. I did not even think. And so my mom wins for her saying, hey, you got to stop it and get everybody out here and let's have a little ceremony. We did. And I was like, wow, Mom, really, thank you. Because it just flew over me. And they were all upset. We all loved it that we did that. Planted a rose over it. I mean, just a whole big thing. But
I love that.
It still totally escaped me that I should even involve them because I had so much going on. But normally I always do, so I don't know. Oh, you broke.
I love that.
We'll give that to my mom.
Well, good. That's all. She, yeah. And you said you told her about it?
I did. I told her. I was like, thank you so much, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a win, and then I have my WTF is the thing that I told you about Ariana. I'm gonna say it on here too.
Oh, you should totally say that.
I'm gonna say it. So we didn't have an episode last week, but my win, I think it's a pretty big win. So my win would be I
no? Okay. You okay,
I'm trying to think of how to phrase it.
Oh, okay. You stay here then.
I was able to I was able to clear the air and offer some clarity on a friendship that was pretty strained and in like a weird place. But it had a lot to do with miscommunication, but also those were like a very big thing that the person did not know. And so I'll tell you about it afterwards. But yeah, anyway, was able to get it off my chest, and it, like what I had to share was met with a lot of grace and zero judgment.
Great.
Which was awesome. And now everything is great and wonderful. I really value that friendship. And so yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah, that's a win.
That's definitely a win,
I think. And the WTF. So most of you, like, hardly any of you. No, okay. So right now, anyway, anybody that knows me in real life knows that, and that follows me on social media. I post a lot of selfies. I made a thing the other day, telling you about something that happened. This guy, I'm just going to tell the whole thing. So if he sees this, he knows what an asshole he was. There's a dad that I had never met. I did not know this man's name until 3 weeks ago. And I didn't even know his kid's last name. They come to this thing that I host. Usually the mom brings them. He brought him this time. That I didn't know this man's name. He does not follow me on social media. My Instagram is private. My Facebook is, for the most part. I have no idea how this man knew anything about my social media to make the comment that he made. So he comes in and he's got the kids and they'll sit at my desk. And I was like, oh, hey, I was like, I'm Michelle. And he goes, I know. I recognize you from all your selfies. Like in the most just, ugh. tone. And I was thinking, I'm glad I didn't say it. I know my face said it, but my mouth didn't, which you're welcome, jerk. But I wanted to be like, listen, bitch. Like, I didn't say it. And so, but it would, like, not RSD, because I really, like, I could get what this dude thinks.
Well, yeah, no, it wasn't that. This is your WTF moment.
Yeah, this is my WTF. So I have to, like, set up, though, I have to set the scene for what happened. So this was the only engagement / like relationship interaction that I have with this fool.
There you go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Making that comment about me. And so I made a post afterwards and I was like, look, this is what happened. But before you go and pop off at the mouth at somebody, you don't know their story. I'm not going to do the whole long thing, but I've said before, like in the last couple of years, I've lost, now today it's 215 pounds. Went from hating myself to I actually love myself. I'm very confident. I hid from cameras. I did not want any pictures of myself my whole life. There are very few, unless it's like strategically done. Now, because I like the way I look, I force myself to take pictures, but it's also modeling the behavior for Avery, my daughter. She likes taking pictures. I go overboard. We don't care what anyone thinks. Makeup does not make you pretty. Your wigs don't make you pretty. Your clothes don't make you pretty. Inside is what matters. But, part of loving yourself is it helps keep you healthy mentally. And she's at an age where that is very, very important. So anyway, so in this post that I made, like addressing this dude, I'm like, you don't know somebody's life. So you don't know. Yes, I post a lot of selfies, but this is why I do them. I don't do them for likes. I don't do them for comments. I don't post thirst traps. I don't bait. I don't fish for compliments. It is all for me, like just for me. And I have some really awesome supportive girlfriends that when I've made comments about people popping up at the mouth about me taking photos, they're always like, no, we love seeing them. We love your progress, blah, blah, blah. They're very encouraging.
Yeah.
So that is that.
I mean, yeah, that's what we do, man. Yeah, you can't be judging people like that.
That's the dude. That's not my WTF. Here's my WTF.
Yep.
So last week was Halloween. Wednesday, I dressed up like a cat for class. And none of this is me being like, oh, I'm whatever. I'm saying this because very sad. I love to wear tights with my shorts. I was dressed up like a cat. So I had on my shorts. I had leopard tights, my boots, this bodysuit, I think actually, and cat ears. That all goes into the story. Very cute. So he, I ain't gonna lie, like, I was feeling it. I was feeling pretty cute. I was feeling pretty foxy. I'm like, meow, meow. I look like a pretty hot cat. Like, went home and heat. I'm kidding. Kind of. No. Just got off track. So there's this little girl that's in my class. I see she's a teen.
Yeah, I was like, little girl.
She's a teen. What I did not realize, and her mom told me on Halloween night when we went trick-or-treating together, and then this week the little girl gave me all the details.
Yeah, I like her details. I was like,
yes. So at the end of the day,
she's fierce.
When it was time to clean up, whenever class was ending, I guess when I was going, so that dad was here and he was standing in the doorway waiting on his kids. As I was going around and I was picking up trash off the floor, every time I would bend over, he was like being a real creeper, like looking in, like checking out my butt. I had no idea. She saw, and in defense of me, she started following me around with her back to me to block me. And she said that she locked eyes with this dad and just stared him down. She's like, Miss Michelle, she said, I wasn't smiling. She said, I just stared at him like this. and wouldn't unlock her eyes. And she
So
said,
good.
she said that he, like, at one point, like, tried to give a half smile. She goes, I didn't smile back. I just went,
Wasn't having it. I love it.
she's, and
Freaking
so
love
she told her mom, she said, Mr. Shaw, she said, you're looking like a hot mama, and you aren't doing anything to ask people to look at you. You were dressed that way because you felt cute. And he was being a disgusting pervert and should have been looking at your butt every time you bent over. So I made sure that I was blocking you and let him know that he needed to stop. And I was like, girl, thank you.
Seriously, yes. That was so awesome. I love
Much.
that.
Thank you. But she's like the type, like, she was like pull out brass knuckles, and I love her. She's been raised right. But that's my WTF. But it's also a win too. Because
It was. It is. Yeah, but it is a, yeah, I love that.
So anyway, yeah. So
Great.
that is it. So I guess we are done. That is RSC. I think we covered it pretty well. We did a pretty in-depth look at it.
Hope so. And if not, or if you have comments to add, please do. We'll, or questions, reach out. Other ways you want to talk about it, I don't know. Let us know, please.
Yes.
So we can share the video.
Yeah. So I'm Michelle.
And I'm Lindsay.
With ADHD How To and
WTF.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. Ding.